Hello, everybody. How's it going? So I'm waiting for a package from my girlfriend. Not a euphemism. She's getting something delivered from Amazon. So I can't really play competitively because if the door goes, while I'm playing a game, I'm gonna have to pick between the two, and we don't want to find out what the answer is. And she said she really wants me to pick it up. So instead, we're going to be doing a bit of Europe practice, bit of well, me explaining my guesses in Europe as well. I mean, it is my home continent, but I think maybe I just assumed that because of that, I don't really ever need to practice it, and because it's like the countries in it are quite small, but I'm pretty shit at it. So we're gonna do a bit of practice, and the ones that we do know, which will be every single one, right? Um, we are gonna tell you why we're going there and explain. And if you're struggling as well, I can give you a helping hand. I am 600 now, like 700th in the world or something now. I was 15th in the UK, which was a pretty nice point. But anyway, that's a long ramble. Without further ado, we'll go in and play no move on arbitrary Europe, and we've got Finland. So we've got the all white outer lines, very sort of short trees. We've got Finnish language there and a Finnish sign. So yeah, that rules out Sweden or Norway, which is the only other real options this could be. And be it being Europe, you don't have, well, it's just the Europe maps, you don't have the America 50-50. But if you are sort of in there, because it's a real struggle. Always look, if you've got this sort of thing at the back of the car, that should put you in Europe. Again, for all of this advice and stuff, it's not a one size fits all for everything, all right? There are exceptions to the rule all the time, but usually, if you can see back of the car and you've got a 50-50 between Europe, this isn't a 50-50, this is obviously Finland, but if you do, without any sort of like other metas, um, back of the car, Europe, front of the car, America. It's a really good way of telling because they can look quite similar. But yeah, long snow poles. I'd say this puts us quite far north. We've got lots of sort of big Christmas trees. It feels a bit more remote. We also feel like we're a bit hillier. It's hard. It's really with the Scandinavian countries. It's really hard. Like I've in if anyone wants to go and watch 2 episodes ago when I was doing a game of Duels, I went here on pretty much Kirkenes, Nordkap area, and I didn't even hate my guess that much. But yeah, long thin trees will put you in the cooler bits of Europe. There's nowhere else really on the mainland that would look like this. You could get some dodgy, like I have gone Scandinavians on like a dodgy Bulgaria or Czechia or something like high up altitude where the trees are quite thin, but no. Certainly the road marking, snow poles as well. So sort of like long, flat areas over like sort of like highish altitude. Certainly around here, bits here, and then yeah, more northern Finland is a bit higher up. Which is what this feels like. So I will go for it. We're going to go somewhere near Rovaniemi because we have got Christmas trees, and that's Lapland. And yeah, it was all the way north. I probably could have fully committed on that, but I think anywhere over there is like a good send on that. But yeah, it felt pretty extreme, pretty north. And we've got small cam. And so small cam is here, here. Bit of Bosnia as well. For this, I'm thinking Bosnia or Italy. Um, there aren't any metas really here to go on. I think we rule out Spain, definitely. Um, definitely. Is this small cam? I struggle telling small cam and the truck apart, but and I've had a bit rusty on what Bosnia actually has. But I'd say we're like, because we feel like around here-ish. You know, we feel Balkan. The road's a bit shitter quality. Apologies to the Balkans, but fix your roads and then I'll stop slagging them off. So I think that rules out Spain and Portugal. And just sort of these sort of like this area is a bit more rocky. Sort of like with your exposed rock by the side of the road. So yeah, southern Italy can be. I think I'm actually gonna go Bosnia. And yeah, nice. So Bosnia is again. I've talked about it before about if you've got countries which you don't really know that well and you're struggling to region guess them, just think about what sort of like the countries are close to them, if you get what I mean. So if you know Croatia and you know this bit is sort of like flatter, more sort of Central European, a bit sort of like, yeah, more not Central Western in architecture and everything. And then you know this bit of Croatia is like way more sort of like hotter, rockier, more Mediterranean feeling, even though it is the Adriatic, but you get what I mean. Then this area of Bosnia should match that. Yeah, it was never really, to be fair. Just with the sort of, we'll go in. Understanding like it could have been Italy, to be fair. It could have been far south Italy, maybe. But that can look a bit Balkan looking. But if it looks Balkan looking, guess the Balkans, you know. And yeah, just in terms of the road quality, really, that's the main one. This up here, sort of like grey exposed rock. Just learning sort of like colours. So how like this is a bit more sort of like burnt and orangey. This is a bit more sort of like grey and rocky, if you get what I mean. And we will go, I'll turn it on full screen for you again. We'll go, and we've got a Polish pole here. It could be confused with Hungary or Romania. I don't think this is Romania. It could somehow be in northern Hungary, perhaps. But yeah, we've got sort of like thin, tall trees, rolling sort of farmland. Hungary is like pretty deathly flat in the middle here. You've got the hills here and the hills here. But I think this is a Polish pole anyway, with thin, not really anything at the bottom. Rules out Romania because, again, sort of like lots of farmland in Poland. Yeah, lots of like fields, slight hills, mixed with unbelievable flatness. Romania is a bit hilly, except for the flat bits down here, and they look pretty different as for this as well. So I'm going Poland on this, and we've got a bit of hills, also with blue car. Blue car is quite common, pretty much everywhere in Europe, but definitely a Poland thing. And sort of roofs like this, ready roofs. You'd see maybe more tiled roofs around here and here. You probably wouldn't get this architecture in Romania. Again, it feels sort of a bit more Czechoslovakian, a bit more Western, a bit more Central European, rather than Balkan. Sort of these as well. If you think that's sort of like feeling a bit almost ex-Soviet, a bit more Baltic. We've got a few hills, so I'll go a bit more in the south. And yeah, nice. So Poland, the hills, you got the high Tatras in the south of the country. So that's the really, really mountainous bit or hilly bit. But there are hills dotted about everywhere. But yeah, on the whole, flat with like slight inclines. But yeah, no real mountains apart from the south. And as if by magic, we've randomly just appeared on round 5 rather than round 4. It's by no way because I went Italy on Greece at all, and I'm just embarrassed about that. There was a technical fault with the server or something like that. No, I went Italy on Greece, but this is no one's gonna trust me. No, if I do shit like that, I'm being honest, but we're cutting that out. Anyway, we are low cam here. As you can tell, everything's a bit more sort of like squashed and horizontal. We've got front of the car. So I know I told you about the back of the car, front of the car thing. As I said, there are exceptions to the rule, especially with Switzerland, which I'm really struggling telling Switzerland and Austria low cam apart at the minute. But this should be Switzerland, right? We've got sort of like alpine looking housing. If it's not, at least we're still the alpine area. So yeah, these sort of houses here, shutters on the windows, sort of, yeah, quite high, hilly. Yeah, we'll throw it down in Switzerland, somewhere around here, and it's, yeah, sound. I was just scared that I was going to do it and be Austria, and I'd have to edit that out again before explaining. So I imagine these are probably some regional, whatever they're called. They're not counties, but whatever it is in Switzerland, flags maybe. But yeah, so we're not, obviously Switzerland is quite an easy country in terms of how it's divided. You've got massive, massive mountains here, hills. I mean, there's flat bits in and around the main cities like Zurich and here, but yeah, pretty much hills everywhere you look, and then giant, giant mountains through here. Um, so this could have been in one of the bits down here in sort of like a valley, but I just went sort of like a bit opposite them. It doesn't really make sense to guess in the massive mountains if you don't see any massive mountains, you know? I know in a sort of like competitive game, it can be a bit tough, especially if you're not really overly confident of a country or a region guess. But you should always use your map, you know. If you see it's like sort of a bit hilly, don't guess next to the Matterhorn, you know. Um, but yeah, sort of these houses. I mean, they're pretty obviously Alpine houses, aren't they? Switzerland, Austrian, and yeah, you've got the low cam front of the car, and also 2024. So yeah, they did recover Switzerland and Luxembourg, not Luxembourg, Liechtenstein. Sorry, around about then. So that should help you with that as well. But yeah, it's a pretty bog standard Switzerland round. That is quite hard to reach and guess whereabouts, but yeah, just guess in the hills. And we don't. I went to cover my screen with my hand because of that, but the rest of it was fine. I'm a fucking idiot. Is that the door? Is that the door? One sec. It was not the door. But it will happen soon, the impending. It's between 10:30 and 11:30, which in terms of delivery times, I think is actually pretty good. I had one that was like what are we getting delivered? I go for rampage, going off on a tangent. That's what I was saying. And it's something like between half. It was a bin. We had a new bin delivered, and it was like between 9:30 and 2:30, and it was like just say any time that day. Honestly, I think we're Finland again here. We've got the outer lines. This over here, if you look. So yeah, it always and yeah, we can see we've got a sign there. Again, just playing it over and over again, you sort of learn blurred signs, and I can kind of tell that at the end that's the end of the finish, an IE, which well should be how most signs and place names end in Finland. But yeah, again we've got the outer white lines. This should be in the south because as you see we've got sort of like flat farmland here. So yeah, always look in the distance. I mean I'm kind of a bit scared of a Baltic, but I don't think so. The poles don't really fit. So yeah, always just like zoom as much as you can and look as much as you can, and you can see because maybe you could see that I don't know. There's some sort of 50-50 or something here. I don't know. But yeah, sort of like farmhouses like that, barns. Um, Sweden's a bit more red roofs. I mean, you've got the lines, but if you didn't have the lines, I'm just talking you through. And yeah, sort of flat farmland like this should be in the south of Finland, and yeah. And this one here is, well, an easy one. We've got red car with a long antenna, so that's Ukraine, if you don't know that. Yeah, that's like one of the first things you learn. So you've got Russia, Ukraine, 50-50. Yeah, the red car with the long antenna. There is red car all the way over here as well and other bits. But it looks different to this. Yeah, you shouldn't have the massive antenna. Red and white chevrons as well. I feel like they are found in Russia as well. But yeah, sort of lower camera quality as well. So if you look, this just looks a bit more shit, a bit more grey. Again, apologies to Ukraine, but it's just facts, really. The road's a bit shitter. Yeah, it's like Gen 2 or 3, I can't remember. But yeah, that should differentiate you from a bit of Russia as well. If it does just look a bit sort of like worse, generally speaking, Russia's in sort of better quality. But yeah, you've got the car here, potholes. This is actually a really, really good road for Ukrainian standards, to be honest. Um, uh, what else have we got? Did I see something up here? Yeah, so sort of thin, um, what are they called? They're not poplars. Are they poplars? But yeah, sort of thin trees that you sort of think of down this region, sort of down here as well. You get them southern Ukraine as well. I'd go a bit more southern here, and we've got a few hills. Like this is a mountain by Ukrainian standards. You see these here? This one I'm talking about. Very very Ukrainian, very very southern Russian as well. Maybe a bit of like coastal Bulgaria as well. But you'd have a black on the back bottom of the sign as well. Majority speaking in Russia. Sort of old Soviet cars. Say you just don't have the antenna, or you're playing NMPZ as well. Yeah, old Soviet cars. Shitter quality, a bit more grey. And yeah, and then as for Regionguessing Ukraine, I don't know my roads. I don't know my coverage. I usually just click middle if I see a bit of hills. I know there's like slight hills over here. You've got the massive Carpathian Mountains here. So it's not that. I'll go there. And it is southern. I mean, without the hills, I would have gone there because of them trees. So I probably should have actually have done that. So this one, yeah, probably should have gone southern, but I just went somewhere a bit more where it wasn't deathly flat. And again, it's like when you're playing a sort of game, you've got to pick. There's lots of information to go on. Some of it is useful, some of it's not. Some of it applies to just the region you're in. Some of it applies to many regions, and you've got to sort of pick between those regions. I think maybe with those trees, you wouldn't find them this far west. So I just picked the wrong one. I went for the hills rather than those trees. But I'm only human. And we'll go full screen again. I want to say Albania. Again, this is what I'm talking about here with the sort of your Balkan rock like this. Sort of like very sort of like grey and gravelly on your mountains. We do have an antenna, so that should rule us out from Serbia. And we don't see any rifts, which is a little worrying for Albania on Montenegro. But you can have rounds without them. So yeah, obviously the poles don't fit. So we're obviously Southern Europe. Obviously Southern Europe, aren't we? With this because it's hotter. You can just tell by pretty much everything you're looking at, especially this. So hot countries in your Mediterranean will have your mountains will be not just covered in greenery, in lush like trees and stuff because it's hotter. They don't grow as much. Again, look, you can get mountains that don't have trees on in like here, or even here. So it's about using your brain. But yeah, sort of they utilize the rock in a lot of their stuff as well. So with it being sort of like exposed, it sort of matches. So in the houses, if you think maybe like rock walls down here in like Italy, and Sardinia. But this isn't one of them. I think I'm going to go Albania on it. And wrong one. Albania or Montenegro, honestly, that's fine on that. I think. Someone more intelligent than me can tell me where I went wrong. But if you get one of those two countries on that, that's fine. In my mind. Always shoot for the stars, but sometimes you will miss. And we've got, well, that car's on the left-hand side. So with sort of like hedgerows like this, I mean, nah, actually, this is never a front, even without the car on the left. Because it can be a 50-50, but you're sort of like, these hills are very, 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 very European, but very, very British. It feels a bit more further north, doesn't it? So yeah, you got hedgerows on either side. This is small Cam Blair as well, so that's the UK. But yeah, it's never going to be Malta, and that's the only really other one in the UK that drives on the left. And as you can see, you've got a yellow back on that there. So again, just look really, really, really closely. I mean, that might not be an obvious one there, but you can still kind of tell that it's not white. So yeah, just using to understanding playing over and over again and blurred colours and all of that stuff. But yeah, houses like this, sort of old British houses. I am from here, so I do know what they look like. But yeah, this would never be a French one. But yeah, it would put you certainly if you consider take this away from like the Polish house we got before. Way more structured, if you get what I mean. More traditional house. In terms of, well, traditional for me as a Westerner, that is. With your sort of like your tiled roof, your sort of like brick architecture. Do get quite a few white houses. I mean, in our old houses, you can get them looking a bit different. If you just plonk down in the middle of some like new build suburb, then they just all look the same, and it's like sort of just all brown brick. But you can get a few multicolored houses. Signs like this as well. Two-way signs to small places. I think we've got a footpath down here, but yeah, sort of like narrow country lanes. Sort of we do have rock walls as well. Certainly Wales here, Scotland, and a bit of Northern Ireland. Maybe not as much Northern Ireland actually. Yeah, certainly a lot of rock walls, especially close to the coast as well. But for this, we're a bit more north, I think. Perhaps because we've got hills. Again, the UK is a nightmare to guess, so I'm just guessing somewhere in the middle. And nope, it's down Herefordshire. So look, maybe the house is a bit posher. So we've got a north-south divide. So by jingo we have. I live in Newcastle, and yeah, there's a definite north-south divide. So this is the sort of more wealthy, posh bit, but again, there's outliers. You can get sort of like really posh bits up here and around Durham, even Northumberland, and where else? Everywhere's got posh bits. Everywhere's got poorer bits. But I mean, I've guessed down here because I've seen some like posh architecture, and it's just been like rural Durham. But yeah, usually that's the way it goes. But yeah, good luck guessing the United Kingdom. This is Italy. We're Po Valley. So what did I see immediately? It told me, yeah, planted palm trees. I recently went on holiday to Bergamo, and yeah, they love planting their palms up in and around the Po Valley area. So we're flat. If we look here, we've got a Italian number plate, so it's short. You've got blue on either side that you can see here, but yeah, the only one in Europe with a short number plate. So that should put you here. Again, the architecture, they've got yellow houses, white houses, sort of like blocky, if you get what I mean. They're sort of very in blocks. So like straight cubes, straight, I mean, I know this one isn't, but a lot of them are. It's my way of describing it, if you get what I mean. They're very sort of square, rectangle. But yeah, we're flat, and we had these boys again. I don't know if they're the same, but yeah, I mean, this shouldn't. The only other real region of Italy that's as flat as this is down here, and the architecture should be pretty different. Because again, Italy has north-south divide. This is the richer bit. And just for the representation, because I went there a while ago, I'm gonna go up near Bergamo, but I think. Yeah, I think it's a lot of it is winter up here. So if you look, the when it's been covered, is winter. So yeah, you can just tell by there's no leaves on the trees, and it just feels a bit cooler. So a lot of it is, a lot of it for me after playing nearly like 9,000 games is just immediately understanding vibes, and like I can just even by like you could just in your head instinctively you just tell the season, and like whether or not it's sunny or cloudy. If someone was to ask me, I was like, "Oh, what season, is Italy? When was that taken?" I'd have no idea. But if I see it, then I'm like, boom, that just sort of like makes sense in my head. If you get what I mean. But even without that, I mean, we're flat, can't see any hills. All of Italy is like so mountainous. And yeah, sort of like more northern. Again, as I was talking about before, it blending in. This sort of blends into sort of like more alpine. It's sort of a bit alpine architecture. Certainly, if you go up into the Alps, then it does sort of like mirror the two. But yeah, I'm gonna go somewhere in around Bergamo because I liked being there, and it's all the way over there. But yeah, this is the flat area of the sort of Po Valley there, and pretty tough to guess whereabouts you're going to be because it all sort of looks the same. But yeah, it's fine. Am I going to edit out that fart I just did? Probably. um, I'd say that we are Poland again, just because up here we've got an orange sign. So we don't have our poles on us. Um, but I would say that we are. Let me pop it down and then I'll see if I can explain. Yeah, sound. Because I don't want to like go through explaining and then get it wrong for some reason. But because I was just looking at the trees and I was like, was that southern Poland? It was southern Poland. Because like I'd always go north on this, right? So again, just talking about this here. So this could be a bit of a tricky one actually, because you don't really have got no bollards. We don't have our ladder poles, although that might maybe one there. Not ladder poles, holy poles, sorry. Um, so yeah, this could be a bit of a struggle. I mean, it would definitely put us Baltics, but sort of Lithuania can look a bit similar. Maybe even like northern Czechia could look a bit like this. But yeah, with your sort of orange sign here, orange yellowy sign, the only places in Europe that have that aren't white are Sweden, Poland, and Greece. Maybe Finland. I can't remember. Somebody, I'm sure, will tell me. Maybe Finland. Again, I'm more a vibes guy. I am more a vibes guy. But yeah, we're flat again. We are definitely Northern Europe because if you've got thin white trees, that'll put you certainly Scandinavia, Baltics as well. You won't really find these much elsewhere. Maybe I don't know, a bit of northern the UK. Maybe I've seen them on my travels round and about. I wouldn't really put this Norway with the trees. You don't. It's not really as like forested. Not really. You don't really get them as thin. And again, you've got loads of hills. So I'm not by no means saying that this is in Norway, Poland 50-50. I'm just talking about the trees here. But yeah, sort of very thin. Um, yeah. So the rule is thin trees, sort of certainly in the north. I'll move it there, and then thicker, more bushier trees because well, it's warmer and they can grow better. They get more sunlight as well. But yeah, so you've got our roof here. We've got our sort of like ready roof, which should point you in the region of it being sort of Poland, bit more Baltic as well. It could potentially go into Lithuania as far maybe as Latvia as well. But yeah, with your sign there. But just Poland's just a fucking nightmare to region guess. And so like my main rule of thumb is I see this and I think north. You know, I'm like, oh, it's cooler, but Poland just doesn't make sense. It's just a little bit of everything everywhere, so it sucks. And right, we are in. Okay, I think we've got to go on a number plate here, and we got a blue number plate. So we're small cam. We're one of the Scandies. So this is one which is like a bit harder. Um, because there isn't really much to go off here, but all of them really have small cam. Yeah. But I think we'd go Sweden here, just because unless this guy has travelled from Norway, so Norway is not part of the EU, so it doesn't have a blue sticker on it. They're all white, in terms of their number plates, and we're a bit hillier. So that, as I said before, Finland's more flat than Sweden. Again, there are flat bits, there are hilly bits. It's yeah, certainly around like this. I think this is a 50-50, a genuine bona fide 50-50 that most players would struggle with. I think you've kind of just got to go on the hills and say Sweden. And it's far north Finland. So everything I've told you is wrong and you don't trust it here because we've got I know the trees are shorter, but they're not spindly, they're not thin, they're not, they've got lots growing on them. Um I don't send far north here ever. You think of far north as like desolate and nothing growing there, and then you get around like this, and you're like, oh, it's really lush. um, Maybe the trees being a bit more red would put me more Finland. Yeah, your more sort of orangey ones. But I just what I went on it was a bit more hilly. I played the percentages. One sec. Sorry, I was just googling whether Sweden has more cam, and it does. It just makes you date yourself. But yeah, honestly, um, I think you don't guess Norway on that. You don't guess Norway unless you guess here. But I think anywhere around here-ish would be valid on that round. And here we have Position Lipche. So Slovenia, I'd say. I know we've got an orange one there, but that's just a roadwork sign. That's not a main one. You can get again. There's so many. There are exceptions to the rule. There are exceptions to the rule, obviously. But these are roadwork signs on these sort of like mounted ones that are just fixed. The orange ones are the ones that I talked about. But so we're Alpine here. We've got Austro-Slovenian bollards. But I'm not going to talk about this sign because this sign is very obviously more Slavic language than Austrian. But say this sign wasn't here and you were like, right, we've got Austria, Slovenia, say none of the signs were here and you just had to do it on what's around you. I mean, look, they look pretty similar. You know, they look pretty similar, but Austria does not have blue car. So if you turn around and you see a blue car, you're never going to be in Austria. So without all the science and stuff and you had your 50-50, I could still, honestly, maybe if the signs weren't there, I could go southern Germany with the blue car, but we've got the bollards. So yeah, Austria-Slovenian with the white, red dash and black at the top. Nice quality camera as well. Maybe if I was just doing it on the landscape, I'd say this exposed rock here as well. I do. You could still go southern Austria, but yeah, sort of this again, sort of moving into your sort of Balkan with sort of this, if you get what I mean. Again, it is found in other places. I'm just talking about general rules that can point you in the right direction. There will always be ones where you'll be like, "How the fuck was that there?" I went on the thing that was, where it should be. But yeah, we got that. We've got that. I've got no idea if those are place names or if that's Slovenian for signs for service stations or whatnot. Lipche might be a place that I have heard of, but I don't think so. Again, I'm not a moving player. I'm not really sort of like more pinpointing and that kind of thing. I am just general vibes. Vibes, man. As for where in Slovenia, look, it's flat here. It's a bit more alpine here. I think you just guess middle, and it's fine. It's maybe why it felt a bit more Austrian actually. I sort of with smaller countries and sort of terms. Sometimes I'm just like, right, we'll just plonk it down. There's no real point in like sort of region guessing, but especially with the new multi system, you really should. Lipche is there; it's quite small, and maybe with it being a bit more Austrian looking, I would have gone here. But to be honest, in a game, I actually probably would have took the time to scan. And here we have got blue car, and we're flat. So this is one where you've got to sort of like use your noggin. You've got to sort of like work it out in terms of vibes, because there's really not much to go on here except that we feel a bit Western. It doesn't feel like, again, talking about the trees that we had over this part of the world, it doesn't feel Hungarian because the road's a bit better quality. And yeah, we're a bit more lush, a bit more sort of warmer. In terms of flat places in Europe. Northern France, Belgium, Holland. These are what I'm thinking. I could maybe see going a bit far up to Denmark, but probably not. Yeah, I don't think it's Hungary. Don't think it's down here or here, and that sort of rules out most of the flat bits of Europe. So I'm thinking like Belgium, Holland. Could even see the UK. Sort of this on the side here, if you're looking. That's either some like, I think this is someone's driveway or like some country house or something. Something like that, which will be a small sign that would tell you, which are very sort of common. Sort of more Western Europe. I could honestly just, on a round like this, I'd probably hedge Belgium. I'd probably just put a Belgium down. Oh, that is the door. There we go. Good boyfriend act done. I answered the door. Aren't I amazing? Okay, we're Denmark. We are Denmark. It's fine. So yeah, it's really important to properly have a look around at everything. Even I'm so bad with sort of just getting around like this and being like I'll just throw it down somewhere in the middle rather than taking in all the information. And this here, if you see, well, it's Danish. It's just Danish. You've got the bit at the top, and then I think there's a gap here, and then two things there. So if you think about your Danish street signs and stuff like that, yeah, it should be Denmark. Nice. So yeah, always go and answer the door, get a fresh perspective, and come back before every guess. Top tip. And here we've got another one. We have got another one, which is a bit rough. A bit rough, honestly. This one is a black car, which I don't really know. We've got a wind farm. We've got a wind farm, which... Could this be Denmark again? It could be. So wind farms are sort of more around here. Europe, UK, bit of Poland. I don't really associate them with the Baltics. Same as I don't really associate them with here. Certainly very Denmark, very northern Germany, very northern Belgium as well. And just in terms of, it felt a bit Scandinavian. It felt a bit Baltic. It felt a bit north. So again, talking about what else does it feel like, you know? Sort of thinner trees. We're definitely Northern Europe. We've got a few hills, so if we are Denmark, I'd put us up here, which is a bit more hilly. I think, in my recollection. I think we're going for it. And it's I mean, without the wind farms, I would have gone Baltic. Just because of it felt it. But again, that's what I'm talking about before, about, say, you get sort of like one thing, which is one little, it's not even a wind farm, it's just a windmill. One little thing that can completely like send you in the wrong direction. And it's like discounting that. So I mean, like everything here is telling you Baltic, pretty much. Like over here and all of that. It's not saying Denmark at all, but I just saw a wind farm and go, hey, like, you know, that's quite common in Denmark. And then my brain just completely goes down the wrong path. But that's a me problem. That might not be a you problem. That's just the way my brain goes. It gets distracted quite easily. Let me just check how long we've been going, see if we can do another one. Oh, maybe not. We're gonna leave it there because I've just seen that the 40-minute timer was up. So that's quite long. I've just been talking for quite some time. So I will leave it there. Hope that was helpful. And I'll see you soon.